Right. So thank you. Welcome, everyone. I trust we're all doing well. Welcome to our monthly webinar series. Some people had reached out to us to say they wanted certificates. So it's a good idea. So we're going to create a form. Some people don't need certificates, but for any webinar you've attended and any webinar you even if it's not this one, I've attended in the past, we would create a form and you can indicate that you want your certificate. So that's something that would work on. I think I can put on my video. Okay, just my camera a bit. Okay, so today we have two interesting topics, very interesting. Coaching your team to success. We're going to see how we coach people. Coaching is a bit different from training, from teaching, and from um, mentorship. And we're also going to look at Google Calendar, something technical so that we can be more productive. So this is part of our Google Grow with Google webinar series, and I'm sure you would find it very useful and very interesting. I believe it's being recorded. Okay, so we go right into what we have. Um, my name is Paul Okatahi with Faith East University. Sure, many of us are already used to me. So we start with Google Calendar. So what is really Google Calendar? So Google Calendar is an online calendar that helps you keep track of everything. Personally, I have about 10 calendars because it's very difficult for me to function effectively. I'm in many organizations related to my faith, related to my jobs, related to my family. So even for birthdays, I'm not so good in keeping dates, and birthdays are important to our loved ones. So the calendar helps us to put all these things together. And the beautiful thing of Google Calendar, it's free. You don't pay for it. All you need is a Gmail, Google account. And the beautiful thing again, it's digital. So recall in those days how we become functional and effective that we have diaries. So you have a little diary where you write your notes, you plan your day. But what happens? You went out and you forgot your diary. What can you do? But with Google Calendar, it's digital, meaning anywhere you have internet, you can access it from your phone, a computer, even a friend's device. So that's the beautiful thing about it, that it's everywhere. And it helps us manage time. Time, I'm amazed when people tell me, oh, I want to while away time. Because time is the most important resource that God has given us. If you want to give birth to a child, it takes time. If you want to heal from a loss, heal from anything, it takes time. If you want finances, it takes time. So time is the greatest resource. And that's why, they ask you, how old are you? Your life, your age is measured in time. So anything that helps you manage time, I think it's pretty important. So we'll go straight into um, Google Calendar. And if you have a phone, most of us use the mobile versions, but you can follow me. You can see this is a desktop version I'm using. But if you have a mobile version, that you could consider, using your mobile version. But it's the same principle, whether you're using a phone or you're using a desktop. So the first thing is you have a Gmail account. So whether it's your phone or a desktop like this, you need a Gmail account. So this is like Gmail. And you see the 9 boxes here where you see all the Google apps on my right. It's your desktop where you have so many things. Gmail, Gemini, that's the AI for Google, the chat for Google, Google Meet, where you can do your video conferencing, similar to Zoom that we're using, Google Drive, where you can store your files. So here you see Google Calendar. But if it's your phone, you just need to go to Apple Store or Play Store and you download, you always see a sign like this with 31, just a box like this, and that's Google Calendar if you're using your phone. So let's click it. So this is how Google Calendar looks like. So, but again, I said you must be logged in to Google to be able to access it. So the first thing is you can access this calendar by various time frames, by days, week. So my favorite is weekly. I like the weekly, and I think that may be the default for many of us. You can first set it by month. So this is how it looks by month, so that you see the whole month. The 31 days in the month is here. But when it was by week, it's just the week we are in, this week of August 30th, which is today. Or you can access it by year, which is unlikely, 2024, the whole year. So you have different views on how to assess it. So let's keep it by week. And by my left plane here, you see you have some special calendars. So you can put in, so because my faith is Christianity, I can add a Christian calendar here. So I can see the default Christian holidays. If it's a Muslim, like Eid al-Maulud, Eid al-Fitr, and all the Eids, and it's a Christian, Christmas, Easter, and some of the special Christian saints holidays that you may have, and public holidays in your country. So for instance, I can bring in a calendar, browse a calendar of my interest. So see the Hindu holidays here, there's Jewish holidays here. So the public holiday here I chose was United States, but I can choose any country. Bea, which country are you from? Bea, Mulugeta. What's your country? Are you there, Bea? Okay, let me take somebody else. Titus, Wauri, what's your country?
Yes, I'm in Kenya.
Okay, thank you, Titus. So let's take Kenya. So we go to Kenya here. We see we can have a calendar. So this is Kenya calendar. So I've chosen Kenya, holidays in Kenya. So I've added Kenya to my calendar. So you can see I can see Kenya holidays. If I put it by month, let's say, okay, this is some of my birthdays. If I put it by month, let me see if I can see. Okay, what is this Independence Day here? Okay, this is United States Independence Day. But if I check, when is your Independence Day? National Planting Day? Which country? Okay, that's Kenya. See, public holiday, Friday the 10th, National Tree Planting Day. So I can use the icon. This orange is Kenya, Mother's Day in Kenya, Labor Day in Kenya, Mandarak Day in Kenya. Mandarak is a public holiday. So where I see, and you can see that these are Muslim holidays because Kenya has a mix of Christians and Muslims. So you can see two Islamic holidays here, Eid al-Adha and Day off for Eid al-Adha. So the beautiful thing is I can put any country, you know, and I can figure that out using any country. So thank you, Titus, for that. So that's how it looks. So let's change
thank you. In fact, those are the holidays that we have in Kenya.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
So so you don't even need to bother. So the beautiful thing again is I can have Kenya holidays. I can have United States holidays. I have Christian holidays. I can add as many calendars, and I can create a calendar. So these ones are created. This is a birthday calendar where I can create a calendar for the birthdays for all my loved ones. I can create a family calendar. Imagine your spouse, your husband or your wife, he wants to do things. She doesn't need to call you. So let's say, for instance, my wife wants to know if I'm available on a date. She doesn't need to call me. If we have a family calendar and I share my calendars with her, all she needs to go is to go into the calendar, because you can share a calendar. So for instance, if you look at this calendar here, three buttons, I click it here, settings and sharing. So if you come here, you can add people or groups. So you can add people to your calendar. So just like how you share a file in Google Sheets or Google Drive, you can share a calendar. So the advantage of sharing a calendar is that people don't need to even ask you. Imagine you have a secretary and somebody asks an appointment. Let's say you are a manager and you have a secretary or somebody who manages your schedules, or you are a special guest, a international guest speaker. So the people don't need to really come and your secretary doesn't need to call you and ask you, hello, madam, or hello, sir, what day will you be available? All she needs to go is go to your calendar, and if she has access to even your family calendar, and I'll show you how you can set some of your events to privacy settings so that even if it's a family calendar you share, people don't really know what's going on. They just know that those days are not available. So you can share that calendar. So it really makes you very, very productive because you are able to do a lot of things, and people are able to follow up on what you do quite easily using those calendars. So let's go ahead and then you can also, so in the calendar, you don't only have to, so look at what you can create. You can create an event, which is what we usually do, a task, and an appointment. So you see, like this task, I click this task red because the task, I'm not sending it to anybody. It's just for my daily planning. It's like my to-do list. So you can create your to-do list, and you can also create an appointment with somebody where you can even ask people to find a place where they can book if you're available, and you can create an event. So let's start with an event. So let's say I want to create an event. Okay, today is 30th. You can see this is September calendar. Sorry. So today is 30th, which is today. Let's say I want to create an event for tomorrow. That's the 31st. So I look at all the days. Then, of course, on your calendar, you will set your time zone. You know, there's the way you put settings, and every calendar is tied to a particular time zone in a country. So let's say, so on my own time zone, I want to create an event for tomorrow, and I look at the time, noon tomorrow. This is noon tomorrow. So if I click here, the box, it shows me noon. So what event can I create? Let me look for an event. Let me say a meeting with one of us. Meeting with, let me look for somebody here. Meeting with, just look for a name, Coca. Yes, meeting with Coca. So that's an event for tomorrow, 1 p.m. What's the time? 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So here I add my guests. Coca, can you help me, Mr. Coca Olufemi? Can you give me your email address? I have an email address.
Fusubi.
Spell it, sir.
Fusubi Coca. That is F-U.
Yes.
S-U.
Okay, it's here. It's here. It's here. I have it there. fusubikoka1@gmail.com. Okay. So
yes,
you're
sir,
going to tell us. Thank you. You're going to tell us if you got my invitation. So I put Fusubikoka. Thank you. So I can join with Google Meet. So automatically, you can see Meet with Google up to 100 guest connections. So up to 100 people can join this meeting with Google Meet. So we could have been having this Zoom call using Google. Maybe next time we'll try it. We just a bit used to Zoom. We would have used Google Meet. I can remove it here by removing the conference, or I can leave it. So it's an online meeting with Google Meet. Now, let's say, for instance, it was a physical location that Mr. Coca would have needed to come to where I am. Here, I would have put the location. Let's say he's coming to our office in Florida. I would have said Faith Leeds. So that's it. Faith Leeds University, 4th Street, North St. Petersburg. So most addresses are already in Google Maps. So once you begin to type an address, it will show. So look at what I have. I have my guests, Mr. Coca. I have the conferencing link in which we'll join the conference together. If I don't need to choose an address, I can put an address. Then what is the meeting about? I have a description here. So I will say, to discuss partnership between between Mr. Coker's organization. Mr. Coker, what's the organization? What's your organization, sir? Let's say Mr. Coker is just for hypothetical, he's in charge of a company, and his company is Red.
You can use Christian Church of God.
Okay, RCCG and FLU. Thank you. Then I can put an attachment here. I can add an attachment. Can upload something from my computer, you know, maybe the agenda or maybe some files. I can drag and drop them, can find something on my system and attach it. Let me see if I can get any attachments that I can just put something here. I don't know what, just a logo thereabouts. So I've added an attachment, and you can see that my default settings is 30 minutes notification. So it means that Mr. Coker would get a notification 30 minutes before the meeting. However, I can make it different. I can make it 1 hour, 1 day, whatever, or a custom time. But 30 minutes is pretty nice. And default visibility, I was telling you where you can put your privacy settings, is visible. If I put public, if I put private, it means that if I had shared this calendar with, assuming my secretary, she wouldn't know the details of this calendar because I don't want her to know that me and Mr. Coker have a meeting, but she will know that I'm not available now. So this helps you to set whether people can see you or not. Okay, so I've added the guest and I save. So it asks me, would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guest? That's Mr. Coker. And I say, yes, send. So it says someone needs to access this. So it's because it's on my drive, I need to give him access. I can say anybody can access it or only Mr. Coker. So let me say only Mr. Coker can access it. He can search as a commentator, and I'll say save events. So there we go. My meeting with him is scheduled. That's how you schedule an event. Okay, sorry, there's like we need to please, Mr. Coker, you can mute if when we're not speaking, so that there will not be the background noise. So Mr. Coker, have you received our invitation on your email on fusubikoker1@gmail.com?
Let me check. I will get back now, sir.
All right, please check. So if Mr. Coker has received it, imagine I can share it with him on WhatsApp here. Invite via link here. I can create, look at, this is the link. Can copy this link and send to anybody, or can copy it from here, copy conference information and send it here. So imagine Mr. Coker is also on WhatsApp. I can copy the link here or here on WhatsApp, or in the link here, so I can send to him through WhatsApp or normal text messages or any other message. Then when the day of the meeting comes, I will join here. So I'll click here and I will join the meeting here. So this is now video conferencing. I think because I'm on Zoom, I'm not sure I can join a Zoom meeting and join. Let me see if it will allow me join. Okay, so it has allowed me join. This is my video conferencing with Mr. Coker. And Mr. Coker, can you join the meeting? You can also join the meeting here. And we are good. So I've created a calendar using video conferencing where we can choose to on our videos or not on our videos. So that's pretty much how you can create an event. I'll take your questions as we proceed. So Mr. Coker, did you see my invite? Okay, not to worry, we can proceed. So I closed the meeting, but
I saw it, sir.
Okay, oh, thank you. And you saw the link to join, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So that's pretty much some of the functionalities that we have on Google Calendar. But let me still show you some more things that you could do. So if you see this event here, let's create another event. Let me create another event for still Saturday tomorrow. Let's say another event from 2 to 3. Now, in creating this event, you can see that there are things I can do. I can repeat this event. So imagine I have a meeting every Saturday. Rather than coming every Saturday to keep creating it, I will say weekly on Saturday. So automatically, so imagine the meeting I have with Mr. Coker is going to be every Saturday, because for the next 3 to 4 months, me and him would want to have this meeting on partnership. Or it's a regular meeting you have with your office or with your boss or with your employees or with your church or whatever organization. So the advantage is that you don't need to create it every time. It can be within any kind of period. It can be repeated weekly, it can be repeated monthly, even annually. Imagine you have it every year and it's on a specific date. You can do that. So that's something also beautiful you can do. And of course, like I told you, notifications, you can choose how long you want to be notified. So that's something beautiful, again, you can do with Google Calendar. Another thing is, so those are events. So imagine you want to create something different. So I can create, remember, event, a task. So I use the color of my task red. So if you come here, you can change the color. You can make the task, let's say, I already have purple, I have blue. So that's why I used red. So red could be in any color you can choose. So you have the color icons here where you can choose. So let's create a task rather than an event. So if it's a task, so you can see I cannot invite anybody because a task is like a to-do list. So I can say a task for tomorrow. Let me create it here as a task. I want to, after I have a meeting with Mr. Coker, my task is I want to go shopping. I want to go shopping and buy groceries. So that's my task, and I put shopping. And I save it. So you can see it's red. If I only want to see only my task, all I need to do is to remove every other thing, you see? If I remove every other thing at my left bar here, it only shows me task. But if I put birthdays and everything, it shows. So I can create a task. So you can plan yourself. Now you're not inviting somebody, you're not doing video conferencing. You just want a reminder. So in this task, you can see here that if I edit this task, it's not supposed to be repeated. So it will remind me, my app on my phone or on my laptop, it will remind me by 2 p.m. tomorrow that there will be a beep, there will be a notification that I need to go shopping. And so it keeps me effective. So your to-do list, you can put it on your Google Calendar to make you very efficient. Then the third thing you can see here is appointment scheduling. So this is very beautiful. If you want people to schedule to book an appointment with you, like you're a doctor or you're an engineer or you're a consultant, and you don't want to be giving people time to say, okay, I'm available then, I'm available then, you give them your calendar. So I'm saying that I give everybody 1 hour bookings. Let me say, so booking, imagine I'm a doctor. So booking medical appointments. So everybody has 1 hour. So I can say, okay, days I'm unavailable, I'm not available on Monday, so I've removed Monday. So I'm only available, let's say, every week. Let me go to the next week, September. Let's say I'm available only on Wednesday and Thursdays. Wednesdays, yeah. So let me keep it Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I move every day. So you can see Wednesdays and Thursdays I'm available. And I give everybody 1 hour slots. So you can choose anytime between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. or anytime I define here. Maybe let me say 4. On Wednesdays, I'm only available till 4 p.m. on Thursdays to 5 p.m. So any of my patients, when I send them my calendars, these are the options they have to book. And I click next. And I say, okay, book. I say use my calendar. Sorry. And book within available slots. So for very busy people, this is very good for you. If I want to put a booking form, I can add a form. If I want them to use a form and everything, but I just keep it simple and I save. So if I go to my booking page, let's open it and see what it looks like. So when I send people this is what my clients will see. So my clients will say, okay, he's only available every week, Wednesdays and Thursdays. So they book here. Let's say this client wants to book 1 p.m. on Thursday. He clicks here. He writes his name. Maybe the client's name is John. His last name, Peter, and his email, john@gmail.com. And the client books. So I will get a notification that John has booked this period, and that period will no longer be available. So you can see the 1 p.m. or thereabout I have 12/1/2, but there is no longer 1 p.m. here. That somehow it's taken away from it. So whenever you book, that period is now booked. So if I go back to my calendar, you can see on that day, I've received it on my calendar between 12 and 1 p.m. I see that, let me open it. John Peter has booked. So I know that I have a patient that I'm going to see between 12 and 1 p.m. on Thursday. And that's all. I don't need to follow him. I don't need to make phone call. I just send people my calendar and say, if you want to speak to me, if you want to book an appointment with me as a doctor, look at my calendar. If you see any slot, and if you go back to that calendar, you can see that 1 p.m. Let me see if none of the slots are still there. Okay, see, it's already booked there. So no one can book there again. You have to take another time. Well, I think because I'm still logged in, but the idea is that this is now blocked. So my medical appointments are blocked and other people will come in and fill in. So this is for people who are very busy and you don't want to even you don't have a secretary, you don't have an assistant, you just need somebody to help you. You don't have a virtual assistant or a real assistant, you can use this easily. So those are the three things we could do. You can do events, you can book tasks. Events are usually when you have meetings and events. You can do personal tasks to make your plan your day, plan your itinerary, and you can also schedule appointments so that people can just go to your calendar. So all you need to do, you can even put this on your website. So when people come to your website, they can just see your calendar. They don't even need to make a phone call. They just go to the calendar, and you do already see this on many people's websites, and they say, okay, this is the time available, and they book. All right, so those are the basics of Google Calendar. I'll pause now here to take any comments or questions before we go into the other parts of our presentation, which is on coaching successful teams. So I hope you find it productive. I hope as I'm speaking, you go to your phone. I don't have time. I could have shown you, just go to your phone and open Google Calendar on your phone. If you don't have Google Calendar, it's free. You can install it on Play Store or Apple Store and make sure you're logged into your Gmail and you can access it. And almost everything I've said, you can use it. Does anybody have any comments, contributions, or questions? Okay, let me see the chat group. I think some people. Okay, any comments? How do you invite a group of people using Google Calendar in order for them to join? So let's go back to where we were. Let's imagine it's not as Chilezi. So let's imagine it's not only Coca, I wanted to invite. So here you can invite as many guests as you want. So you can invite Johanne at gmail.com. Imagine that's your email. So if I have this, okay, did somebody call this? This is not you, but I can put this person. So if I have a list, my email in a list, I can copy it and I can put as many people here. So keep inviting as many guests as you want. You just keep inviting as many guests and they will all get your notification. Although I think there's a limit because of spam. You know, Google doesn't want people to be sending spam emails or emails that are soliciting and, you know, bothering people with irrelevant things. So I think you may have maybe 400 people. I don't remember the number, but pretty much you can invite a lot of people. All you need is their email address and you invite them here as guests. Also, your invited guests can forward, like Mr. Coca can forward it to his friend. So I can say guest permissions. I can say the guest can modify the event, or the guest can invite others. Sorry, you can see it. So even if you are a guest can send to another guest that I did not originally invite. So you can invite as many people by just adding their names or copying and pasting their names here on the invitation list. Okay, could you have a recording audio of this presentation for the use of the session? Could we have a recorded? Yes, you would. This presentation we are going to send you the recording on YouTube. And like I said, we'll also send you a form in case you want certificates. It didn't occur to us that some people wanted, but we will send that to you after. All right. So any other questions before we proceed? So I hope many of us will use it and become very effective. Schedule appointments with people rather than just calling people to say, I want to speak to you tomorrow. Most likely, if you tell me that, I will not be able to speak to any because I don't know my calendar. I will need to check my calendar. But if you look at my appointment, or if I give you a date and you send it to me, and I had a very important meeting, I was supposed to speak to some people, but I totally forgot. The reason I forgot was it wasn't on my calendar. They only spoke to me about it, and I did agree. But during that time, I was engaged and I forgot. But because I have a very busy schedule, but if I had put it in my calendar, or if the people who had invited me had sent me a calendar invite, it would have been locked in my calendar. And the beautiful thing, remember I told us this, that in calendar, you can have as many calendars as possible. So you could see so many, I have so many Gmails here. You can include so many calendars. So all the calendars will be here. So even if I promised, for instance, my wife to take her out and I have another meeting, my wife's calendar could be yellow and my meetings could be blue. So I'll know that, okay, I can't take my wife out this time because it's already blocked for a meeting. So that's the advantage. You can have multiple calendars where you can see everything globally you're doing. So for people to be very productive. All right. So for the certificate of attendance, we'll send it to you. So let's move on. If we have no further questions, let's move on to coaching on coaching. And you can still ask some questions if eventually you do have them. Sorry, I need to go to the slide on coaching. So all these are the calendar slides. All right. So coach your team to success. So let's see what's the statistics by Norm Wesserman. The statistics says that startups fail because of people 65% of startups fail because of people related issues. Now, this is very, very instructive. What does this mean? It means that, so I have worked a lot in the IT related industry. I've been involved in a lot of software implementations. I'm passionate about softwares. And what we realized there was that people are the reason that software fails. So let's say you want to implement Google Calendar in your organization. You're not already using it and it doesn't work. It's not because the technology is not working. is because the people have not adopted it and accepted it. And in many businesses, startup businesses, meaning new businesses that are starting up and, are trying to become successful, many of them fail because of people-related issues. And somebody said that people do not leave companies. People leave people. Just imagine any company, if you've resigned from a company or if you've left a religious organization, just think about it. Did you leave because of the building or you didn't like the organization? Your claim of not liking the organization is because you didn't like the people or you didn't get along with the people. So it's very important to see how managers and leaders can coach people. So we're going to learn how to be great managers and how to coach people. Now, there's a science behind it, and I'll explain as we go. I'll explain it as we go. So let's go ahead. So first of all, we're going to mention very quickly 10 tributes of a good manager. We're going to focus on coaching. So a good manager creates an inclusive environment, meaning everybody counts. Everybody is valuable and everybody counts. A good manager empowers the team. You don't micromanage. You don't treat people like children. Do this, do that, do this. Although I know some people said the work does not get done if I don't micromanage my team. So a good manager will coach the team so that they know how they can be productive without being micromanaged. Number 3, a good manager supports the career development and discusses performance. Everybody aspires to something. The way people are, like remember in biology, you say every living thing grows. So people want growth. Everybody wants to grow. Nobody wants to remain stagnant or, nobody wants stagnation. So a good manager will help you to look at your own career aspects, your own desires, and see how you can grow. And coaching, which is what we're going to focus today. A good manager is also a good communicator. So this is not only in management, it's in every endeavor of life. If you do not communicate, whether it's in business, it's in marriage, or it's in any endeavor of life, it's a problem. Communication is very important and it's two-way and it should be understood. So a good manager has, number 6, clear vision and strategy for the team. You should have a clear vision, what you want your team to achieve. Number 7, be productive and result-oriented. That's why we have key performance indicators. What do we want to achieve? How do we know if it to be achieved? Is it measurable? A good manager talks about collaboration. This is not just a nice word. The truth is that every one of us, just like the human body, the eyes alone cannot do it. The nose alone, the mouth alone cannot do it. So like in the human body, the power of a human being is the unity of all the parts. So that's the power of a team. Everybody has something to bring to the table, and nobody, just as powerful as the eyes or the brain is, the brain and the eye cannot work alone. So nobody can work without other people. The success of everybody, of every great team, no matter how great the team is, depends on what other people contribute. So a good manager is a strong decision maker. Sometimes you have to make difficult decisions. And a good manager has key technical skills to advise the team. So even if you're not the brightest or the best, a good manager should have some knowledge. So imagine we spoke about medicine, if you're a medical doctor and you're managing a team, or you're a manager in a hospital, you should have some knowledge about how patients and how administration of hospitals work and how medical science works, because it's important that a good manager also has some technical skills. And that's why in many developing countries, you say somebody is made, for instance, a minister of education or governor, I don't know what you call in your country, the secretary of education, and the person has no idea about education. So it always causes a problem. So let's look at it and say, what really is coaching? What does coaching mean? And how do we define it? So coaching is unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance. It helps them to learn rather than teaching them. So coaching is different from teaching. What am I doing now? I'm doing more of teaching because I'm helping you to gain skills using the Google Grow approach. I'm teaching. I'm not coaching. This is not coaching. This is teaching. But coaching, although when you coach, when you teach, you may be able to also in a way coach people. But the difference is that coaching is helping them to bring about their own potential that is already within them. You're not teaching them, you're helping them to discover themselves. So a coach helps people to discover themselves, to maximize their own potential. So let's try and differentiate between these four keywords. So I am here on this spectrum on my left, which is I'm teaching. Now, what does that involve? That involves sharing of skills and knowledge. I'm teaching you how you can use Google Calendar to make your life more productive. That's I'm teaching. Then after teaching, you have training. So training is when it's on a particular job, when you do on-the-job training. So if you're employed, the Google Calendar could also be a training. Imagine you're an office assistant and you needed to know how to schedule meetings for the managers or for your boss and how to be productive. So I'm training you that this is how you schedule a meeting, then you inform your boss, this is how you keep your records. So that's training. It's usually job specific for a task. Then you go into mentoring. So mentoring involves a more experienced person guiding a less experienced person. So if I can be a mentor to someone who, let's say, I'm experienced in the field of quality management. I have done a lot on Lean Six Sigma and quality management. And I have a protege who wants to learn on quality management. So I mentor that person so that I can bring him to where I am. But coaching is a bit different. It's a personalized process that involves improving an individual's performance. So let me give you an example. This is a faith-based university. So permit us if we use examples that are in the Bible. So when the disciples came to Jesus and said, teach us how to pray, the Lord's Prayer. I know most of us know the Lord's Prayer. And he said, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. That's teaching. He was teaching them skills. Start by acknowledging God, thanking God for God who is in heaven, praising his name, asking his kingdom to come, asking his will to be done. And start by praising God before asking for anything, before you go into give me this day my daily bread. And also the power of forgiveness, that if you want God to forgive you, you forgive other people, because a lot of people have hurt us. Even if many people suffer pain because they can't forgive somebody or they can't forgive themselves. Those are the two key things why people could be in pain. And you say, okay, God, help me to forgive myself or forgive other people so I can also receive your forgiveness. So that is training. That is teaching, forgiving. But let's look at coaching, how Jesus coached. Whenever Jesus used a parable, he was coaching because he didn't tell them anything. He wanted them to discover things for themselves. So let's give an example of a parable that Jesus used to. A lawyer came to him and says, what must I do? You know, lawyers are very intelligent and you cannot, I don't know if you have a lawyer where you or not even a lawyer, somebody in your life that you cannot win an argument with. Anybody you cannot win an argument with, you don't need to teach the persons because those people will not accept it. You have to coach them. So a lawyer is somebody who you will not usually win an argument with. So he came to Jesus and said, you know what? How can I enter the kingdom of heaven? How can I be saved? And Jesus says two things, just two things. Love God with all your heart, your soul, and might. And the second thing, he said, love your neighbor as yourself. I said, okay, yeah, I love God. I know I love God. And I think I love my neighbor. So he wanted to make sure that he was leaving Jesus justified, that he's going to have eternal life and he's going to be saved because he has done those two commandments. So he asked Jesus a question. He says, who is my neighbor? Now, if Jesus was to teach him who his neighbor was, Jesus would have said, your neighbor is this or that or that. And most likely the man would have rejected. He says, no, I don't agree. How can you say anybody on the street is my neighbor? That's typically nonsense. So Jesus coached him. And how did Jesus coach him? He said, told him a story. He said, you know what? There was a man going in a journey and he got attacked and he was robbed and almost killed. And 3 people met him. One was a priest, which we know priests are supposed to be good people, but the priest saw him and left him. One was a Levite. The Levite was supposed to be a good person. The Levite also left him. And one was a Samaritan. And the Samaritan is the bad guy. Those are people that in the context of the Jews, they don't talk to Samaritans. These are people who are ungodly people. But this ungodly bad guy was the person who helped the man who was robbed, cleaned his wounds, took him to an inn. So Jesus asked the lawyer, among all these 3, which of them is a neighbor? That's coaching. I don't tell you the answer. I allow you to discover the answer for yourself. And the neighbor, the lawyer thought about it. None of these guys helped this man. The only intelligent answer would be the Samaritan, even though he's the bad guy, who showed him love. I said, well, I think it's the Samaritan. And Jesus says, you know what? Go and do likewise. So the man had the answer within him. What a coach does was to bring that answer from within and not tell him the answer. If Jesus approached him and said, you know what? Anybody in need, any beggar on the streets, anybody in need as you walk on your day is your neighbor. He says, no, that's nonsense. My neighbor is somebody who lives by my side, who is my next door. So you cannot tell me that I should love somebody I just see on the streets. He wouldn't have accepted it. And that's why if you go to a therapist, I don't know if anybody here has gone to a therapist, you've gone to a psychologist, they never tell you the answer. You don't go to a therapist and they tell you, you know what, this is your problem. I think this is your problem. No professional therapist does that. They coach you. They listen to you, they ask you questions, and they allow you to discover your answers, because human beings are naturally rebellious to truth. If I tell you a painful truth, you would most likely not accept it. But if I allow you to discover the truth for yourself, you would accept it. So if you have anybody in your life that does not like listening to advice, never teach them, never train them, just coach them. Because when they come to the realization of the truth for themselves, they will accept it because they told themselves the truth. But when you tell them the truth, they will reject it. So I felt that it's good that we relay that foundation. So let's go back to the slides. So be a good coach for your team. Now, what does a good coach do? People think a good coach is about giving solutions. No, a good coach has to do a lot with listening. You have to have very good listening skills. And this is also scriptural when the Bible says, be slow to speak, slow to get angry, and quick to listen. So listen and ask good questions. These are the 2 qualities in coaching people and in coaching your team for success. Many times when people come to you, they don't want you to tell them all the solution. They just want somebody to tell them. There is a therapy, there is a healing when people speak. So when somebody has a problem and you keep cutting them, okay, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. No, allow them to speak and just listen. Because when you are speaking, they are healing. They have it bottled up in their hearts. And when they speak and they're expressing themselves to you, they are healing. So if somebody calls you, don't be quick to find a solution for them. Just listen. That's part of the therapy. Then also ask good questions. So when you ask people questions, you allow them to reflect. And that was what Jesus did in the case of the Samaritan. He says, which of them, that was a good question, which of them is the neighbor? Because when you ask people good questions, you allow them to self-discover and find the solutions for themselves. So let's look at how to be a good listener. So there are 3 levels of listening. One level is to say internal listening. That's passive attention. So this happens to many of us where someone is speaking to you, like imagine I'm working and I have, let's say, my child asking me, oh, Dad, can we go out today? I say, oh, sure. Yeah, right. We can. I'm not really listening. I'm really on my work. So when people speak to you, you can say, oh, yeah, sure. That's right. Somebody says something, you didn't really hear them. It didn't really register. You just say, sure, you got it. That's right. Now, that's not the best kind of listening. That's not true listening. So if people come to you with a problem and you almost dismiss it, that's not a good coach. So imagine you are a manager and someone told you, I just lost my brother or my sister today. That's sad news. And you say, oh, right, oh, sorry about that. Oh, okay. And can you please make sure you get me the reports by noon today? That's like level 1 listening. Level 2 is you can listen, factual and focused listen. So you focus on the facts or the objects, and you say, okay, it makes sense. So somebody tells you, oh, I lost my brother. I say, oh, you lost your brother. Okay, the fact, okay. What happened? He was sick or she was sick. Oh, bad luck. Okay, well, we all passed through that. So it makes sense, but still enough, it's not deep enough. But there is the third level of listening, which is the empathic and whole body listening, where you put yourself in the person's shoes, you engage in their feelings, and you focus on them, you suspend your own agenda. So I lost my brother, I lost my sister. Wow. I'm really sorry to hear that. That really, really hurts. I know how I felt when I lost my own brother, or I lost my dad. So I know how that feels. Wow, I think you need a day off. Could you even come to work today when you have lost someone? No, there's no need to work. Oh, you say, oh, I have a lot of work. Say, no, don't worry, we'll sort it out. And can I pray with you? Can I share a prayer with you and say, Father, comfort him, comfort her, encourage him, encourage her. I said, okay, we know what we're going to do. We're going to tell our other colleagues about this. We're going to pay you a visit in the home this evening. Watch out for us, and we'll hear more about it. That's empathic listening. So that's the highest level of listening, and we should all try to be at the level of empathic listening. So also, asking questions. When you ask questions, to ask good questions as a coach, try and ask open-ended questions so that you're not asking questions that are yes or no, because people many times don't have a yes or no answer for us, and people may be defensive. So ask questions, and we're going to do some coach on training on that, and we'll give you an example of how to do that. So ask questions that allow people to discover themselves. So for instance, you can see on the pyramid, I believe personally that why is the most important question. But why is a question we should avoid? Because let's say you are counseling a married couple who are going through crisis in their marriage, and you ask them, why do you think this relationship is not working? That may be difficult, and that may be too direct, even though that's the most important question. So you ask what, how, who, and when. So if you ask the question is, what do you think makes your wife happy? And says, oh, well, she likes birthdays, she likes affection, public show of affection. And you say, okay, sounds nice. And when did you last remember her birthday or public affection? And you say, well, I really don't even, I can't really recall when I ever remembered her birthday, and I'm really shy about public affection. I don't like to do it. So really, so do you think this has impacted her relationship with you? So you see, you're asking, you didn't just ask a direct question of why is it not working. You're asking questions that give information, questions that give facts of what is happening, and in thereby doing, you would get to the top question of the why. You would find out the reason. But what you're doing as a coach is that you are allowing the people to self-discover themselves so that they find what the root is. So let's look at a coach conversation is active listening. So as a rule of the thumb, you should talk about just 20% of the time. So like, that's why I can't be a coach, because I'm doing most of the talking. So I'm teaching. This is not coaching. Because if I was going to be coaching you, shouldn't be doing all the talking I'm talking. So you need to allow people to speak more and you do more of listening. And when there is silence, You don't have to feel it. Many times when there's a silence, you asked a thought-provoking question. Like I asked the man, do you think that not remembering your wife's birthday and showing public affection for her could impact the relationship? And he keeps quiet. Is that why? Is that the root cause of our problems? Because I don't show love. I give her money. My love language is I take care of her. I buy things in the house, but her own love language is affection, and her own love language is remembering special events. Could that be the reason? So when you do that, when there's silence, you ask the right questions, you allow the people reflect. You're not just talking and talking and talking and, trying to find the solutions for them. Okay. So let's look at this good coaching in 3 questions. So you want to see what's happening. What is the current state? I use the marriage as an example again. What are the facts, the current stage? What is most important to establish the future? Like I spoke of love languages. What is important to people? Typically, what's important to a man would be respect. Men are very big. They say, oh, men are egoistic. Men are very big on respect, and women are very big on love and affection. So it's good to know what is important to each person. Or it could be children. It could be, what's important to children, but we don't have children. So, but that's what is important to the couple. So how do we get there? What are the possible steps to establish a future? Like in the case of children, imagine a couple that trust God for children and don't have children. What are the options? Could we consider adopting? Could we consider taking a child from a relative who is in need of help? What are the options do we have? So you begin to look at the options that are there. But you see, there's a lot of communication, but a good coach will try to establish the facts, look at what is important, and allow the people to propose ways, because we don't know their answers. A coach presupposes that the answers lie within every one of us. Within each and every one of us, the truth and the answers of our lives lie there. So the coach's role is not to come and tell you the answer, is to allow you to bring the answer from within you that is already inside you. So there's what you call a grow model. And this grow model, G is the goal. What do the people, what do you want to achieve? What do you want? R is reality of today. Where are we today? What are the current situations? O is the options. What are the options for action? So this is just a simple model to help you, like an acronym when you're doing coaching. And W, what steps will you take? So most of the time, you should spend 90% of your time on what is the goal, what is the reality, and what is the options? What are the options? The solutions will come after. If you spend because many times people want to jump at a solution. Oh, I know what the problem is. I know what the problem is. Without really establishing what do we want to achieve, what is reality, what are the options, and what will they take? So let's do a role play here. Let's try and coach using some questions. Who would like to volunteer? Would anybody like to volunteer to let's coach you on any problem? I'm not an expert, but what I'll try to use this grow model and ask you some questions. Let's say you came to meet me and with a problem, either personal problem, employment problem, whatever it is. And this is hypothetical. We're not saying that this is what is going on in your life. We just want to use it as a class for explanation. And the whole idea of a webinar, you're not just watching this video, is so that we can interact. Otherwise, I could just do this on a video and send to you to watch. So who would like to volunteer? Do we have any volunteer, please? Any issue you want us to coach you on or to speak about? Anybody? We have a lot of people here. Anyone, please? Let's be quick. Anyone who like to have a coaching session together? You just raise your hand. Anybody? Do we have? Can I start calling names? Okay. Mr. Koka, okay, Moro, Alex, okay, I can see Moro, Alex. Moro, can you go ahead? Moro, Alex from South Sudan.
Yes.
Let's go ahead. Thank you for volunteering,
My
by the way.
goal, yes, thank you so much. I just want, my goal is I want to become an entrepreneur.
Very, very good. So you've already asked the first question. You've already answered the first question, Moro, is that you want to become an entrepreneur. That's a goal. And that means you want to own your own business, if I assume. So let me ask you, what have you done so far in trying to become an entrepreneur? So let's say we've achieved the goal. I could ask you many questions here, but because I want to keep it short. So Moro, what have you done so far in becoming an entrepreneur?
I've started registering my own school, nursery and primary school.
Awesome. And how is the registration going? Is it completed or is still work in progress?
It's on process. I'm still developing the strategic plans and all those.
Great.
But hopefully, this at the end of this year, will make it.
Great. And what feedback have you gotten from people so far? Have you gotten feedback from parents, feedback from friends, feedback from family? What do people think about this idea?
The idea is okay. It's only that the financial challenges, because my goal is big. It requires money. It requires a land, and also it requires some resources, financial and human resource.
Very good.
So my challenges is some people are giving me positive ideas, others are giving me negative ideas toward my goal.
Excellent. So we have done goals and reality. I'm moving on with Moro to options. And I've gotten two things. He has told me that some of the challenges he has are around finance, capital, and human resources. So I'll ask him the options. So what do you think around finance and human capital? What options do you have? What are your thoughts around that?
The option that I put right now, I've said a small business that is generating for me money. If all goes well, if the business is successful, it put my very big vision that I'm planning to do.
What is the capital cost? What involves, so I understand human resources, but what involves finance? What is the capital cost that you need money for?
Yeah, the capital cost is about it will range
Sorry, I think we lost you.
like 10,000 US dollar for the whole
10,000 US dollar.
process to
Sorry,
be
Moro,
successful.
we lost you. We lost you. 10,000 US dollar to do what?
20,000 US dollar.
20,000 US dollar to do what?
To start the business of of the school, nursery and primary school.
Is that for the building? That $20,000 is that for the building? What are we using $20,000 for?
Yeah, it is for renting and doing other management costs.
Okay, so you've told me renting. So have you explored online education in terms of, could that reduce using technology? Although I know that physical school is very important, but we call it hybrid. Have you explored hybrid where to reduce rent, maybe you are renting periodically, or even starting online before you even make money to come to a physical location? Have you explored technology so that may reduce some of the physical expenses like rent and housing and buildings?
Yeah. Thank you so much. The country where I'm in, by the technology, we are still too behind, and most of us are just involving in physical types of lecture because of
South
the
Sudan.
situation in the country. We have a lot of issues. Yes, South Sudan is having a lot of issues.
Good. Have you explored partnerships? Partnerships with educational bodies that could help you support either as grants, capital as grants, or even as loans, or even as equity. So they could give you grants, that's free money, they could give you equity, meaning that they have part of the business with you, or they could give you a loan, meaning that they don't have part of the business, but they borrow you the money for you to return. Have you explored these options?
And what I'm looking at just the trends, but right now the banks are also facing challenges because of the high rate of inflation. Prices of goods keep on increasing, and people, even me personally, I fear also to borrow because this high rate of inflation in the country. And secondly, what I'm planning, the option that I've taken is I'm trying to apply online. Uh, I'm looking for donors online if I can get also so that my vision will come to reality.
Okay. And have you also sought places that can give you a structure without charging you? Let's say a church leasing their church to you without really asking you for money so that you can start up there.
So those are the options that I've not taken. Maybe I will also try it.
Okay. So those are the options. We just try to look at options. So so what are your next steps? What do you think are the next steps you try to take from this? What do you want to do next?
Hopefully, if all goes well next year, I will start maybe with NASA.
Okay, we're finding it difficult to hear you. Like you said, South Sudan, the internet is not it's difficult. So we can even appreciate it from here. And it's not only South Sudan, many developing African countries, we have a lot of challenges with our internet connectivity, which we can all see. It's even playing out here. I'm sure you can hear me clearly, but more because of the country. So the context of him doing it in South Sudan will be different from US or different from Germany or any other country. So he is to look at whatever options and see what steps he can take. So you see that in that coaching session we had, I wasn't trying to give him a solution. I don't even understand his context fully. So I can just ask questions. What is important? What is his goal? He wants to be an entrepreneur. Looking at education as it. Now, okay, how can we do online schools? Because today is going online. And if capital cost involves a building, can he get people to give him that building, like a church or an NGO, to allow him to use for the children and paying his vision until it becomes, profitable? What kind of partnerships can he have? Can he write proposals and raise funds? It's very powerful. And I said this in our other webinar that many times we think 2 + 2 is 4. But I said 1 + 3 is also 4. -1 + 5 is also 4. -2 + 6 is also 4. So there's infinite ways to do things. But many times we focus on only one particular way. So that was just like a coaching session. And thank you so much, Muro, for coming out. And we do pray. Remember that as a coach, I have to show empathy. So I do pray that you have the wisdom and God gives you the favor to achieve this dream. I want to encourage you not to give up, to keep at it, to keep looking for solutions, talking to people about it. Even in this population, some people here have ideas. If you have an idea, drop it on the chat for Muro, if you have any idea around his circumstances. So let's show empathy. So that's how coaching goes. So let's look at the case study that Google Grow gave us on coaching. And it says, meet Angela and Claire. So Angela is a small business owner and Claire's manager. So Angela is the owner, just like Muro wants to have his own business. So she sets up a coaching session because lately, Claire has been showing up late to work, unable to focus, and seems generally unhappy and stressed. So, and especially this happens to ladies a lot. Men can compartmentalize their lives, but a lady may not usually. What does that mean? If a lady is not happy with one thing, she may not be happy with every other thing. But a man can say, okay, I'm not happy at home, but I'm happy at work, So in this case, Claire, the employee, is not happy and it's affecting her job. So look at the coaching. Remember, we said, what is the goal? What is the reality? What are the options? And what steps will you take? That's the coaching scenario. So let's see what happens. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to to see, okay, I want to see the best way to put it. Just a moment. I'm looking for a particular slide. So in this slide, it appears that Angela asks Claire to say, okay, what is going on? And what happens is that Claire has said that she has some family challenges. And that, first of all, her goal is, of course, to be a marketing manager. She is not into marketing. That's not what she does. But that was her goal, that she wants to be a marketing manager. But her current job, she has a member of her family that is ill, which is going to the reality, which is affecting her. She has to take her dad, who is ill, to the hospital before she gets to work. And she has to book medical appointments. So her personal life is giving her a lot of stress. So look at the options that, by asking her, by coaching her, Angela, her manager, I thought that maybe she was not just productive, but Angela, her manager, if she didn't do this coaching session, she would have no idea that Claire was actually going through a difficult personal family circumstances. So what did she do? She said, okay, well, that's good. So what are the options? What can we do? He says, okay, can you work remotely? Working remotely means that you can do some work from home, so that as you're doing the work from home, you can take care of your father, who needs the medical appointments. And anytime the medical appointments are going on, you can be on remote work. And can you work a bit late, meaning that you come to the office a bit later, but you should. See, looking at options. And can you also, we were thinking of even hiring a marketing manager, but even though you are not a marketing manager, but since you have interest in that, could you take some of that role? And also, since that is in line with your goal, because your goal is more in marketing than what you're doing, could you be considered for that? And so these were all the options. And that turned around everything. And at the end of the day, both people were happy. They were able to solve the problem and take concrete steps in solving Claire's problem, who was an employee of Angela, just by coaching, not just dismissing that, oh, this staff is no longer serious, this staff is no longer engaged, but trying to know the root problem of what are the circumstances that are affecting that employee and what things can be done to make those circumstances better. And many times in our lives, we just don't care what goes on to people. So you have people in your church, in your mosque, people in your life where you see something is happening to their productivity, and we just dismiss them. You are no longer serious. You are no longer hardworking, without trying to address what is their peculiarity, what is the reality of their lives, and without trying to see what are the options that you can give to them and what steps can we collectively take to solve those problems. So that's how good coaching goes. And another thing that was said here is that you keep a balance, not only what is negative, when you give people feedback, don't just give them on what is negative, like the not good, but also talk about what is good. But there's a feedback model, which is called the SBI model. So remember, the people said that it's not what hurts people in feedback is not what you say, is how you say it. You know, sometimes you can tell people the truth, but because you say it so painfully, they would reject it. Remember what we say, allow people to discover the truth for themselves. So if you tell me the truth and it's painful, the pain will make me lose sight of your truth, and I'll reject that truth. So look at this SBI model, just like the GROW model we saw in coaching. This is an SBI, situation behavior impact model, for coaching, for feedback. So it says, for instance, motivational. You start with, let's look at A. We have two case studies, a motivational and a developmental approach. So in the case of Angela and Claire, Angela, remember, is the manager, Claire is the employee. What was the situation in the coffee shop this morning? That's the situation. What was the behavior? You went above to accommodate a customer with special needs. So this customer had special needs, probably was physically challenged. And what was the impact? Customer later contacted the management to show appreciation of how supported they felt. They were very happy. So that's good feedback. We're giving you good feedback. We talked about the situation, context. We talked about what the person did the behavior, and we talked about how good the impact was. So that's for motivational. Then when you want to give feedback, I don't want to call it negative, but what you call developmental, meaning that you want the person to improve. So what's the situation? When the store got busy during the rush hour, so a lot of people were coming into the store in the rush hour, that was the situation. What was her behavior? You didn't perform or delegate out our important cleaning protocol. So we're supposed to be like cleaning the place. Maybe the other customers had taken coffee and there was coffee all over the shop and there was water on the ground. So what was the impact? This puts our customer and staff at risk. Somebody would have come to step on a pool of water and could have gotten themselves hurt. Somebody would have, you know, a new customer might not want to return because he finds the coffee shop not clean. So look at the way it was done. They looked at the situation, behavior, and showing the impact, not being judgmental, but just speaking clearly on the facts. So the SBI model is a key way. And what is the summary of what we've gone through? Because we have just 15 minutes left. Always positive. Number one, prepare. Use the GROW model. Prepare. Be authentic. Be honest when you give people feedback. Even though you are allowing them to discover themselves, be honest. Adapt the conversation to your style and to your direct report style if the person is working for you. And always be positive. Always be motivational. Say, you know what, you can do it. You can be better. You can achieve it. It's a good idea. And, you know, trying to make the people the better version of themselves. Remember to say it's not what they do. It's not what you say. It's how it is said. The body language, the way you say it also counts a lot. So those are the things we have learned. Remember, we started with the GROW, the Google Grow, and with the calendar, we went to the calendar, and we also talked about discovering, team success, coaching for team success. So we have about 13 minutes left. Do we have any further questions and answers? Give me questions and comments on what we've learned today so far and how we think we can apply them. I also would like to know how you think you can apply them, or somebody can share with us what they think they can do, because we may not be able to address your specific situation, but we hope that you learn the principles to be able to go back and address your specific situation. So can we have questions? Anybody, please? Questions, comments, contributions?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Michael Singoro, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm audible because I'm in a noisy place, but
you're audible.
But okay, I would say the presentation was so good, and it was directly towards what I'm going through. I'm trying to build a new team, and in terms of prioritizing, like I'm coming into a project that has already been in place, and now the planning part of it, getting myself organized, because so many tasks are already running. So your presentation is good in the sense that it solves, it helps me solve that problem. In addition, in terms of coaching, it has been a challenge for me, and I really didn't know that it's important to be able to deliver the truth in a good way, in a good manner, that people can deal with the truth and they don't deal with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael, for that. And thank you for sharing about your team and how you are able to, navigate. It's very difficult being a leader. It's challenging, but how you are able to use principles like this to have a more productive team and get people to be inspired. And I'm happy that you are interested in your team, because a lot of challenges about leaders is they're just interested in results. But you cannot get results if you're not interested in people, because it's the people that will deliver those results. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Daniel, please share with us.
Yes, good afternoon. Please, I was a bit exhausted today, so I was unable to join the class early. I just want to ask if the recording will be available.
Absolutely, it will be. We'll send it to you by email. And like we said,
right,
the
okay.
certificates too. Anybody wants certificates? Yes, we would. The admin will work on that.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Okay, Chrome, I don't know, from CROM2. Please use your real name so that we can keep your attendance, because when you say Chrome 2, we'll not be able to acknowledge, we'll not be able to register your attendance because that name is, so please change it to your name. Yes. Yes, it's a bit faint. We can hear you, but quite faint.
Okay, it's Taiwo Niger.
Okay. Taiwo Niger. Okay, go ahead.
So sorry, I just had to use the Office Zoom platform to join this webinar.
Okay, your Office Zoom platform. Okay, yeah, your Office is called Chrome 2. We're wondering. Okay, that's understandable. But thanks for joining.
I just want to say that this webinar has been so impactful and quite insightful. I thought we were just going to learn basics of Google Calendar, but for me, that digression to those biblical insights that you use to explain the act of coaching, they were really, really impactful for me. So I just want to say, well done. And definitely, I'm going to go for the certificate for this particular one, and then I have to go over and over this again. I just want to say you're doing a very good job. Well done, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Taiwo. Thank you for you're already learning it. You're giving positive feedback, so that's part of coaching. So thank you for coaching me, and thanks. Thank you. Thanks for giving us feedback. So yes, and like we said, you see that many times Jesus uses parables, because parables is only the way that people will come to self-realization of the truth. People are known not to like direct truths. So I find that very instructive. So I really emphasize that for anybody who is difficult in your life, please don't go out, don't tell them what is right or what is wrong. Coach them, allow them to come to that realization, and you see it to work like magic. But the moment you go and tell them this is that, this is not right. Remember when John the Baptist told Herod that he should not marry his brother's wife. That was wrong. Herod did the wrong thing, but he got him killed. But when Nathan and David, if Nathan had told David that you can't kill a man and Bathsheba and take his wife, kill Uriah and take Bathsheba, they would have just killed him. But he used coaching. He allowed David to judge himself. So that's the power of coaching. Yes, Mr. Olalekon, you want to share with us?
Hello?
Okay, I think you're, yes, go ahead. We can see you, Mr. Olalekon Olonade. Go ahead, please. Or maybe you don't know your hands are up. Okay. Okay. If we don't have any further, I don't like to keep our time. Thank you very much. I think we have taken and we finished 5 minutes before our usual time. Thank you for coming. So we have this monthly webinars. We will give certificates, like we said. If you want, we don't want to just be sending certificates to everybody, because some people don't just come because they want to learn. They are not key about it. But if you want, we want to give you on request. And like we always do, we will send out the videos to all our population so that people can watch.
Hello, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Sunday. I was thinking you were not going to talk. Go ahead, please.
No, I wanted to talk. Thank you very much, sir, for today. Now, I am also in the school of thought that when you have a team, you have to make them know and be acquainted to your vision. Okay. And
Absolutely.
then I learn more. That you have to make them go through the rudiments, basics, and everything that you want from them. I was discussing something of recent as a team leader, actually. So I was like, okay, if you have made people gone through, you have trained people, you have made them learn what you want them to learn, and you still find this one or two people that are still not productive, or they are still not coming up in what you are expecting them. And then you said in one of your statements that don't go straight to maybe relinquish them or sack them, okay, or report them. Then what can you do? You have trained them, you have made them learn that this is what I'm expecting from you. But it seems that as if they are going astray. So what can you suggest? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sunday. And that's a good comment. So like, remember the GROW model, we have the goal, we have the reality. So in the reality, we can try to find out what is the challenge, what challenges are they having? Is it that they don't have the capacity? Is it that they don't want to do it? Is it that they don't have the passion? When we find the root cause, because most people don't go to the roots. And that's why as you ask them questions, it could be they're having a hard time. Their performance could be because they have a relationship problem at home, but you don't know that's what is affecting their work. Their performance could be because they don't enjoy what they are doing. And that's why they are not giving it their best. So we have to know, and every case is different. So when you address the root cause, you can now say, what are the options? Perhaps you can change the team. Maybe that person is not doing well in a particular area and you are really concerned. But being the boss, you can say, you know what, I see that this area, maybe you don't like it, or I won't say you don't have the capacity, because that may be a judgmental word. So I'll say maybe you don't have the passion about it. So can we move you from the administrative area and put you where you can do IT, because it seems that you like technology more. So you can be scheduling our calendars, doing our Zoom meetings, following up with our website, because it seems this is where you have more passion. And because we see that you have little attention span, anything that takes too long, you don't like things that have long attention span. Can we put you in this, because this one is quick and go? Because remember, naturally, we all have our natural giftings and disposition. So you're now looking at options. Go ahead, sir.
New head, this former police commissioner.
Okay, so
military guy for one general.
Okay.
Latin security.
So can we mute Mr. Koka? Mr. Koka, please, can we mute? So that's it, is to look at all the options. But if the person is deliberate and says, I have tried all the options,
okay,
there are people who were saying that, they say that when you put in effort, please, Mr. Koka, can you mute, please? Admin, can we mute Mr. Koka, please?
Sorry, land.
Can we please mute Mr. Koka? So if in a case where we cannot still achieve it, then it's not wrong to also say, you know what, we think this company and this organization may not be the best alignment for you, and have that honest conversation to tell the person that it's not like a sack, but ask the person probably to resign, because you want to give them that honor to say, okay, we have looked at all these options and we don't still think it's not still working for you, it's not working for us. So it's not a bad idea to ask the person to find another place to work. It may be that the company and that person are not the same. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you find that helpful, sir. Sorry.
Very helpful, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you all. Our time has come to an end, and thank you. Wish you a great weekend, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Thank you so much for the insightful
Thank you, sir.
presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, so much. Thank you very much for this wonderful webinar. Thank you.
Samuel.